Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome once again to the weekly live webinar presented by Affinity Federal Credit Union. Today's topic is handling pay cuts or reduced hours at work. Now, this topic was designed to provide people some kind of guidance whenever they feel like there's a short coming of income. There is not enough income being generated prior to in the past. I know with the pandemic, a lot of companies decided to cut down on their personnel, cut hours, or even close their doors. So now this topic was developed to give some kind of guidance on what to do, what tips out there, strategies to put in place in order for us to be able to get our head over the water and then be able to get some kind of extra income in the future, right? So before we begin, a quick disclaimer: the information provided to all of you this afternoon is intended for information purposes only. It's not intended to be legal, tax, or financial advice. Every person's circumstances are different, and if you need to talk to a professional because you want to discuss a matter that you're going through, feel free to reach out and I can put you in touch with somebody that can have a one-on-one conversation with you. All right, very good. First, let's start with a quick quote. Employees keep the business doing what it does. It's important to pay them accordingly. And with the pandemic, a lot of businesses found themselves in the situation where perhaps the production wasn't there or the output wasn't there, and so what did they do? Did they keep the personnel on and pay them fairly, or cut hours, cut personnel, and whoever stayed at least maintain the same level of pay? But sometimes that level of pay, if you've gotten your hours cut, is not enough to handle your bills, to pay your bills, to make ends meet. So there's a couple of things that you need to do, put in place to make sure that you're able to maintain your style of living. Okay. So when a change in your income is fine when it's in your favor, right? So when you get a raise or you get a positive feedback or positive review, yearly review, well, we usually get a little bump on our salary, and we feel great because we may get that bonus or that commission for a job well done, right? And we want to be compensated for our hard work. But on the other hand, when the amount you receive of your paycheck suddenly drops because of a change in your employment situation, it can be disastrous. And not only for your budget, but also for your buying potential and your family. And so it's really, really difficult to maintain financial stability, right? So we often despair, right? We don't know what to do because now we need to find a way to pay our bills and provide for our families. One of the worst feelings anyone can get is kind of like when you're driving home, knowing that your hours have been cut, and now you're asking yourself, what am I going to do, right? If you don't make some adjustment, the income, if you don't make some adjustments and your income continues to drop, you're likely to take risky financial actions that like dipping into your savings or using a credit card or asking money to a relative in order to cover the expenses, right? And all of this has a high potential of financial distress, okay? So 4 ways to handle cuts or reduce time. The first step, immediately cut discretionary expenses. So when you see that you got your hours cut, the first thing you want to do is you want to take a look at, you want to sit down, find out what can you live without, what can you cut away from your expenses, and do that as soon as possible. Discretionary expenses are anything that is not a necessity in your budget. They're wants. So usually when I teach budgets, I usually like to teach my audiences to define what a need and what a want is. And what I usually tell them is a need, when you're buying something that's a need, for example, food, we need that, right? That's a given, right? We all need food to be able to survive. A want is those things that you would like to have at the moment, but if you don't buy them, it's not going to change you in any way, and it's not, the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to feel kind of like disappointed that you couldn't buy it at the moment. But those things are like the wants, right? So things that are not a necessity in your budget, they're the first thing that should go when you have a decrease in your monthly income. You may not need to cut absolutely everything, but it's better to err on the side of caution, right? Cut anything that you do not absolutely need immediately after you become aware that your hours have been cut. Sometimes this can be hard, as all of us, not some of us, but all of us somehow have become used to our current lifestyle. But is necessary now that we face the fact that we will not be earning as much as we used to. For example, I don't know about you guys, but I used to have multiple streaming services. I used to have Netflix, I used to have Hulu, HBO Plus, Paramount. I used to have like 4 or 5. And then while I was putting together the material for this presentation, I realized that I don't really watch all of them, right? There's so many hours during the day that you can spend watching TV. And so why did I have 5 different streaming services and paying them? So I just kept Netflix because that's what usually what my kids like to watch and my wife likes to watch. And I went ahead and canceled the other 4. And so now I'm saving about $40 to $50. I was paying about $10 a month on each one of those. So it's $50 that before I was just throwing away. And now it's back into my budget, right? So those are the little things. It's just a quick example of the things that should go out the door the minute you realize that you've gotten your hours cut. Sorry. So you want to review services, also evaluate if it's possible to cut back, or even if you need them at all. This includes also your cable or satellite service. Sometimes people can downgrade their plan. Sometimes there's people out there that may have 400 channels in their plan. Do you really need that many channels? So perhaps there's a way that you can cut down on your plan and save some money. Cell phone plan, movies or music streaming services, gaming accounts, I don't know, specialty delivery services, kind of like food or coffee, if you get your coffee delivered, magazine subscription, gym memberships, all of this stuff. If you don't need them, or perhaps you need them, but if you can do without them for the time being, you want to either cancel them or put them on hold while you get back to that level of income that you used to earn. Necessary services like your cell phone services, you can cut back if possible, but don't cancel it because you still need a cell phone. That's usually a cell phone service is, I will consider it more a need than a want, right? You can always add the services back once you get comfortable with your new income level, or once you find ways to increase that income, perhaps a part-time job, or perhaps you want to do something from home, and then you can, that little side gig can complement that income that you stop getting from your regular job, right? Also, you don't want to splurge. So eliminate things like ordering out, specialty coffee, costly vanity hair or nail care, and recreational shopping, right? Nowadays, companies have made it very, very easy to purchase items online. And whenever I say this, I think of Amazon. Amazon, once you register your card with them, it's as easy as a couple of clicks, and that's it. That's all you need to do to buy something. So once you have your credit card registered with a website, Amazon or Etsy, or there's so many other places there, Purchasing an item can happen with a click of a mouse. I personally got in trouble with my wife, my spouse, because during my breaks here at Affinity, I used to go on my phone on the Amazon app, and they usually have the daily special or the daily deal, which is an item between 10 and 25 bucks, not too expensive. And sometimes I will buy it just because I thought it was pretty cool. And so that item was a want at the moment. That money could have been saved, or could have been put back in my budget to pay off a credit card, for example. But no, I was buying stuff online until that actually got caught up to me, and I found out that I had spent over $200 in a month. So for my own sake, I decided to erase the app from my phone. Right. You should also avoid shopping online, since targeted advertising makes it all too easy to impulse shop. As you get comfortable with your reduced paycheck, you can begin to add these expenses back into your spending gradually. Do so slowly to ensure your budget can handle the extra costs without slipping into the red. All right. Now, step 2, plan to restore your earning power. So adjusting your budget is a necessary short-term solution, but you will not be happy living on your bare bones for the time being, right? So the first thing you want to do is you want to assess how likely your current employer is to reinstate your previous income level or restore the hours taken from your schedule. And you can pretty much ask your manager or ask HR if the changes that they're implementing are temporarily or permanent, right? If the answer is that they're not likely to do either, they're not likely to increase your hours or get you to that same income level that you had before, or you expect it will take an unspecified amount of time to happen, then maybe it's time to move on. Get your resume together and start looking for another position, right? On the other hand, if the change is only temporary and you're willing to stick it out because you've been with the company for a long time, because perhaps their benefits are really good, then you should explore options to supplementing your income. Consider a part-time or second job, such as like Uber or Lyft, or performing like micro jobs in platforms such as TaskRabbit or Fiverr, where you can actually post yourself as being an expert on doing something and charge for the service. For example, myself, I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish and English fluently. So I've gone on Fiverr and put myself as someone that can do translations. And whenever somebody needs a document translated, I would let them know that I could do it for them, and I would charge them a fee for doing so. So those are the little micro jobs that you can do online, or you can drive for Uber or Lyft, just for the time being, just to supplement that income while you get back on your feet, right? Websites such as TaskRabbit or Fiverr allow you to market yourself, right? And you don't have to. The great thing about those websites is that you don't have to become a business yourself. It's not like you have to register your name or register a business name. You can just put it out there as you're expert at something. For example, you are really good at math, and you can put yourself out there as somebody that wants to tutor, so you can get extra income that way. Also, if it's available in your career field, do some consulting or freelance work, if possible, right? Also consider employment opportunities for other members of the household to help out and fill in the gap, okay? All right, step 3, consider a tax withholding adjustment, all right? So tax withholding is the amount of money that is taken from every paycheck in order to cover your federal and possibly your state income taxes, right? The amount withheld approximates what you should owe to the government on April 15th every year when your taxes are due. However, when you withhold when your withholding is too high, it means that the government is taking more money from your paycheck than is required, and that's why sometimes you will get a refund. Now, there's other stuff involved with taxes and credits and deductions and all of that stuff, but usually when the main reason why you will get a refund will be because there's extra money going out every paycheck towards your taxes, money being withheld. So a refund is the government giving money back, right? Because you were overcharged. Decreasing your tax withholding means that you bring home more money per paycheck. So that's something else that you guys want to check. You want to check a form called the W-2. And W-2 was a form that you filled out when you started working for the employer. And that's where you will sign, check off if you have any dependents, or if you have if you want some extra money to be withheld towards taxes. You may want to review that, and you may want to make some changes to it. That way you can bring a little more money per paycheck. Now, at the end of the tax season, you may not get as much of a refund as before, but at least you're helping yourself out during the year while you're trying to get that income level back to where it was before. Bringing a little bit more money every paycheck may help you offset the loss of income. Your refund next year, as I mentioned before, may not be as big. When withholding is done correctly, you break even, meaning that you don't have to pay anything to the IRS, and you have a little bit more money available to you every paycheck. Lastly, step 4, you want to explore debt consolidation. Okay, so while cutting the discretionary expenses is the first step on the path, depending on your lifestyle, those cuts may not be enough to balance your budget with your lower income level. In this case, debt consolidation can prove invaluable. It may provide a way to lower your total monthly payments depending on the nature of your current debt load and which consolidation options you're eligible to use. Carrying balances that are high relative to their credit lines or high interest rate credit cards cost you a lot of money over time. The interest charges add up, especially when you have big balances and carry over month after month. As an Affinity member, you guys have a complimentary access to credit counseling agencies that can assist with the debt consolidation process. And here is the information on the on the slide. Navicore Solution and Consolidated Credit. We have partnered with both of them to provide these services to our membership in the event that you guys need some kind of guidance with debt management. You can consolidate those credit cards into one payment using a debt management program that you enroll in through a credit counseling agency. On average, this program may lower your total monthly payments between 30 to 50%, while rolling into your debts, all of your debts into one easy payment every month. You still pay off your debt in full, you just do it in a way that is more manageable on a limited budget, right? If you have federal student loans, so this is very important, you may also want to consider options for student loan consolidation. So some programs may offer the same advantages of simplifying the monthly payment schedule into one bill while lowering your total payments. Just keep in mind that you may want to consider pursuing student loan consolidation and credit card consolidation separate. You don't want to do it all together. You want to do it separate. If you have federal student loans, it's a possibility your student loans benefits like deferments or forbearances could be impacted by consolidating them all together. So you want to keep them separate. For instance, you can consolidate them with a home equity line of credit, but benefits and like deferments and forbearances may be lost. So if you are looking to do student loan consolidation, you wanna find a company or even talk to our advisors at Navicore or Consolidated Credit to put the consolidation separate than your personal loans and credit cards. Okay. All right, very good. So with that, this concludes my presentation this afternoon. I would like to open the floor for any questions that any one of you may have. You guys can use the Q&A option on your panel and I'll get the question. I'll be more than happy to answer them at this moment. While you guys type those questions, I just want to remind you guys that you guys will receive an email in about, I want to say perhaps 10 or 15 minutes, thanking you for attending, of course, and letting you know of giving you the link to be able to rewatch this presentation if you need to. Okay, if you want to go back and revisit a concept that we went over. Also on that email, you guys will receive the link to register for next week's weekly webinar, which will be on avoiding bank fraud. So that webinar is going to be very important because we want to be informed on what kind of fraud out there it's happening out there. So that way we can be on the lookout and we don't become victims of it. That webinar will happen at 1 o'clock next Thursday, February 16th at 1 o'clock. So you guys will, on that follow-up email that I'll be sending shortly, you guys will receive the link to be able to register for it, okay? Okay, let me take a look at see if there are any questions pending at the moment. See, I do not see any questions pending. So with that said, I will bring this webinar to a close. I want to thank everybody for attending. Thank you for being present. I hope this webinar was informative to all of you. Since you guys joined for this topic, I hope that you guys are able to supplement your income somehow, because perhaps some of you may have gotten your hours cut at some point and you guys needed to make these changes to your budget. So I hope this was informative. If you guys have the need to send me an email and you guys have a question that you guys want to ask offline, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys may have, okay? With that said, thank you so much. See you guys next week. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye, guys.